Pound of teeth or ferocious carnivore.
All right. Hello, everybody. It's time for our EdTech Live this morning, and we are going to get started right away. We are doing a lesson this morning on evolution. It's called a cyber sandwich lesson. And so I hope you guys are all ready to learn about evolution. And let's see, you will need your Chromebooks for this lesson. So make sure you have your Chromebooks handy. And in a moment, you're going to also need to be getting together with a partner. Okay, so let me show you my screen so we can get started with the lesson. All right. Okay, so again, this is Cyber Sandwich Evolution for 8th grade science. And if you haven't learned about evolution very much yet, that's okay. Whether you're at the beginning of the unit or the end of the unit, it's okay. This lesson will be great for everybody. So just a couple of vocabulary terms before we get started. You need to know what evolutionary history means. That's what we're learning about today. It's the sequence of heritable changes that occurred among species since the origin of life on Earth. So, for example, in this diagram, you see a fish species that has gone through a evolutionary change from 385 million years ago to 365 million years ago. And that's about the time when the first amphibian fossils are appearing in the fossil record. And so when you find these fossils that have the early limbs that then evolved into arms and legs, that would be an example of an event in evolutionary history. And so where do we get this information from? How do we know that this happened? Well, we dig up fossils and we find the fossils for these different species that lived at these different times, and we can figure out how old the fossils are through a variety of methods. And then we can piece it together, kind of like a detective piecing together evidence to figure out what happened. So again, that's what we're learning about today. And fossils are not the only way that we can study relationships between organisms, though. There are other ways that we can learn about that as well. And let's see. Here we go. There. There. Okay. So one of the things that we've learned by studying all of these fossils is that there is common ancestry. In other words, there are organisms that are alive today that are descended from a single ancestor. And this goes back very far in the history of life. If you go back far enough, all life came from the same original ancestor. That's just wild to think about, that like all the animals and all the plants and all the fungi and bacteria and all the other forms of life on our planet all ultimately came from the same original kind of life. And this has been a very, very long history. So obviously these changes have happened over several billion years. But that's what common ancestry means. It means that the organisms are descended from a single ancestor. Okay. Um, and then we also use anatomy to learn about organisms and to learn about evolutionary history. And so anatomy is basically the study of a structure of an organism. I put a human skeleton here so you can study human anatomy. In fact, that's a class you can take in high school or college, and you can learn about all the different parts of the body. Humans, for example, an adult human has 206 bones. And if you take an anatomy class in high school, you probably have to memorize all 206 of them. just kidding. I don't know if you have to memorize all of them, but at least I did when I was in college. But anyway, that's what we're learning about today, is how we can figure out, by studying anatomy and by studying fossils and studying other things, how can we learn about the relationships that exist between the species that are alive today or the species that were alive in the past. So to do the cyber sandwich, you need to be in a group. Ideally, it's 2 students, but you can also have 3. If you have an odd number of students in the class, it's okay to have a group of 3. But for the most part, let's try to do groups of 2. So I'm going to stop. Remember, this is a YouTube video, so you can pause whenever you need to and rewind. And rewatch a part if you have to, or just pause. There will be some built-in pauses as we get into the lesson, but this is the first built-in pause. During this first pause, I will ask everybody to get into a group of 2 or 3 and make sure everybody has a Chromebook that they can use. and everybody's going to need their own individual Chromebook because you'll be reading the passage individually. Okay, so pause the video now and get into your groups. All right, welcome back from the pause. Hopefully you are in a group of 2 or 3 students. Everybody has their Chromebook and we are ready to get started. So we're doing a cyber sandwich today. If you haven't done a cyber sandwich before, it's a way for you and a partner or maybe a couple of partners to read a passage together and help each other get the main ideas out of that passage. And you can do this basically with any reading passage. Today we're doing it with evolution, but you can actually do this with any portion of the textbook or any other reading. It's a great way to learn. So how do we do this? Well, on your slides, you're going to get a cyber sandwich slides in a moment. Okay, I'll give you a link in a moment. When you get that link, you're going to need to put your partner names on the title slide. This is what the title slide looks like, has a picture of a giant sandwich, and you type in your partner names. And then there's a little green link here that opens the article that you need to read. So I put the reading assignment on the slide for you. Okay, so here's where you find the passage. Whoops, hang on a sec. Got my slide in the wrong place here. There it is. Okay, there we go. So it's at seriesedtech.net/evolution8. And you need to open this in a separate tab on your Chromebook. And if you just type in that address, seriesedtech.net/evolution8. And when you open that, it's going to look like this. And it's a Google Slides template. You'll get a little message that says, do you want to make your own copy? And yes, you need to make your own copy. And then one member of the group needs to share that copy with everybody else in the group. So if you have a group of 2, pick one person to be like the captain of the group. If you have a group of 3, same thing. Pick one person to be the captain. That person actually opens this link and shares the slides with their partners. So the way you do that is you go over here to the share button, and you add your partners' names and add your partners and make sure they have edit rights. Make sure you go down here and click here to give them editor rights. And that way, your partners can edit your slides with you. Okay. If you have a group of 2, you're going to start working on slide 2 and see what it says here. If there are 2 people in your group, use these slides. And if you have a group of 3, you're going to start at slide 8. And slide 9. If there are 3 people in your group, use these slides. So those are green. The slides for the groups of 2 are red. So that kind of guides you to where you need to be. Okay. And the first slide is a note slide. Okay. On the note slide, you're going to read your passage. While you're reading the passage, you're going to add key notes and quotes and data points to your slide. You need to add at least 6 key facts from the article. That's all you need to do, 6 key facts, 6 of the most important pieces of learning from the article. 2 of them can be notes, 2 of them can be quotes, and 2 of them can be data points, something that has a number, or it doesn't have to be a number. It could be a fact or an observation or some other kind of evidence. Okay. Again, the links are provided here on the slides. So on your notes slide, there's another link to get to the article. You can also get to the article over here on the title slide. There's a green box. If you click there, it'll open the article. All right. So I just gave you a lot of instructions. Feel free to pause and rewind if you need to look at the instructions again. But I'm basically going to give a 10-minute pause now. So we're going to pause the video for 10 minutes. And teachers, you can help maybe keep a timer to make sure that you are giving your students enough time. But they need enough time to read this article and add the key facts to their slides, to the notes slides. Okay, you're only adding notes to the notes slides at this point. So if you're in a group of 2, that's either slides 3 and 4, or if you're in a group of 3, that's slides 10, 11, and 12. Okay. Also, you need to do this quietly. You need to read, and your partners are going to be reading. A lot of people I know I need some quiet, some peace and quiet when I'm reading so I can organize my thoughts. So this is 10 minutes where everybody should be quiet. And you're going to add at least 6 notes to your notes slide. So at this point, This would be a good time to pause the video for 10 minutes. Okay, go ahead and pause. All right, welcome back, everybody. So you've hopefully had your 10 minutes, and during that time, you've been able to fill in your notes on your note slides. So we're ready to move on to the next step now. The next step is my favorite part. You're going to discuss your notes with your partner or partners. You're going to compare your notes, and there's a summary slide for you to complete together. And anything that you put in the center column, see where it says we both have, and there's a blank space there. This is where you put anything that both partners agreed was key learning. So if you had a fact, maybe you had a fact about, oh, I don't know, DNA, and your partner had a similar fact, same fact or similar fact about DNA. If you guys both agreed that that was one of their key pieces of learning, then you're going to put that in the center column. On the other hand, you might have something that only one of the students decided was important. So if you have something only student one included, put that on the student one column. And if you have a piece of information that only student two added to their notes, then you put that in the student two column. So you're basically making just a summary list of the key facts that both partners figured out or found in the article. Now, if you have three people in your group, right? If you have three people in your group, we have a special summary slide for you, and that's on slide 13. Similar kind of idea. You have a unique column for student one, student two, and student three, and then what is the information that all three of you agreed on. That's what goes in here. And by the way, it doesn't matter how many items go in each column. It's, you know, because you guys aren't mind readers. You didn't necessarily all agree on the same thing, or maybe you did. Maybe you had all the facts the same. It doesn't really matter if you have more facts in the we all have common, or if you have more facts in the student one, student two, student three columns. That doesn't really matter. It's just a way of organizing our ideas. Okay. And the reason we're doing this is because we're going to be sharing our ideas, and the ultimate goal is we're going to write a summary paragraph. So just kind of keep that in mind while you're sharing your ideas. At the end of this process, each student is going to write their own summary of the article. Okay. So I'm going to have another pause now for 5 minutes, so you guys can share your ideas and fill in your summary slide. So go ahead and pause now for 5 minutes. All right, welcome back. So now that your summary slide has been finished, we're going to move on to the last step. And this is the step where you really put everything together. All the information that you've put on your slides, in your summaries, you can now use it to write a one-paragraph summary. Each student writes their own summary. And so this is, now you're not going to work with your partner anymore. You've shared ideas with your partner or partners have been able to help you kind of find the most important information, the main ideas from the passage. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn to use the information on that summary slide to write your one paragraph summary. Do you have to use only your information? No, you can use some of the information from your partners. It doesn't matter who found the information. If you think it's important enough to put in your summary paragraph, then you can include it. The point of view is going to be third person. This is scientific writing, so it's informational writing. So third person informational. That should be the format of your paragraph. And each person contributed at least 6 facts. So you probably have a good set of facts to draw from. You probably have at least 6 facts that you can include in your paragraph, in your summary. All right, so we'll pause for 8 minutes and allow you guys to write your one paragraph summaries. And go ahead and pause now. All right, everybody. So if you've been following along, I think you should be done. You should have your paragraph summary ready to be graded by your teacher. And that concludes this lesson. So I hope you guys enjoyed reading and discussing and learning about evolution. and some of the pieces of evidence that we use to study evolution. So have a great day. Thank you all for joining in, and I'll see you later. Until next time. Bye-bye.